Come close, children of the land, and listen to a tale from the old days. A story of betrayal and forgiveness, of sorrow and triumph, of a dream that refused to die. This is the story of Joseph the Dreamer, retold on African soil, under the burning sun and the whispering wind. Joseph was the beloved son of Jacob, the child of his old age. His skin was dark like the fertile soil after rain, and his eyes were full of light, always gazing at horizons unseen by others. Of all Jacob's sons, Joseph was the one his father loved most. And to show this love, Jacob made him a robe of many colors, woven from cloth dyed in bright reds, deep blues, golden yellows, and green as the grass after a storm. When Joseph wore it, the robe shimmered in the sunlight, flowing behind him like the feathers of a royal bird. But love is not always shared equally, and the hearts of his brothers burned with envy. For while they wore plain robes of earth tones, Joseph's coat announced his father's favor for all to see. Every time the robe swept across the ground, it stirred jealousy like dust in the wind. Yet it was not only the robe that made his brothers angry. Joseph was a dreamer. At night visions came to him, and at dawn he told them. He said to his brothers one morning, "Listen, I dreamed that we were binding sheaves of grain in the field, and my sheaf stood tall while yours bowed down before it." His brothers laughed bitterly and replied, "Do you intend to rule over us?" On another day he said, "I dreamed that the sun, the moon, and 11 stars bowed down to me." This time even his father was troubled, though he kept Joseph's words in his heart. And so the jealousy of his brothers grew like fire under dry grass. One day Jacob sent Joseph to find his brothers in the fields where they grazed the goats and cattle. From a distance the brothers saw him coming, his robe flashing like a flag in the wind. They said among themselves, "Here comes the dreamer. Let us kill him and see what becomes of his dreams." But Reuben, the eldest, had pity. He said, "Do not kill him. Throw him into this dry pit instead." They seized Joseph, tore the robe of many colors from his back, and threw him into the pit. The boy cried out, but the walls echoed only silence. As they sat to eat, a caravan of traders appeared, men riding camels laden with spices, oils, and gold, heading to Egypt. Judah said, "What profit is it to kill our brother? Let us sell him, and his blood will not be on our hands." And so they sold Joseph for 20 pieces of silver. The traders bound his hands with rope and led him away toward Egypt. Back at home, his brothers dipped the robe in goat's blood and carried it to their father. Jacob saw the robe and fell to the ground, wailing, "My son is dead! A wild beast has devoured him." He tore his garments and mourned many days, refusing comfort. Meanwhile, Joseph walked under the burning sun of the desert, dragged behind the caravan. His heart ached with betrayal, but deep inside a whisper of faith remained. "The God of my fathers is still with me." In Egypt, Joseph was sold to Potiphar, captain of Pharaoh's guard. Though a slave, Joseph's hands were blessed. Whatever he touched prospered. Potiphar saw this and trusted Joseph with his entire household. The young Hebrew managed the fields, the storerooms, and the servants, and all flourished under his care. But in Potiphar's house, danger came again. Potiphar's wife cast longing eyes on Joseph. She said, "Lie with me." But Joseph refused. "My master trusts me with all he has. How can I do this evil and sin against God?" Yet she persisted. One day she caught his garment, but Joseph fled, leaving it in her hand. Enraged, she cried out, "This Hebrew tried to dishonor me." Potiphar, filled with anger, threw Joseph into prison. Yet even there, in the cold darkness of a cell, God was with him. Joseph gained favor with the prison keeper and was placed in charge of the other prisoners. 2 of Pharaoh's servants were there, the cupbearer and the baker. Each dreamed a troubling dream. Joseph listened and said, "Interpretations belong to God. Tell me your dreams." The cupbearer dreamed of a vine with 3 branches that blossomed and produced grapes, which he pressed into Pharaoh's cup. Joseph said, "In 3 days you will be restored to your post." The baker dreamed of 3 baskets of bread on his head, with birds eating from them. Joseph said, "In 3 days Pharaoh will lift off your head." And so it happened. The cupbearer was restored, but the baker was executed. Joseph asked the cupbearer, "Remember me when you are free." But the man forgot. 2 years passed. Then Pharaoh himself dreamed. He saw 7 fat cows feeding by the river, swallowed by 7 thin cows. He dreamed of 7 full ears of grain devoured by 7 thin ones. Pharaoh awoke troubled, but none of Egypt's magicians could explain. Then the cupbearer remembered Joseph. "There is a man in prison who interprets dreams truly." Joseph was brought before Pharaoh. He was bathed, given fresh clothes, and stood in the court of the mighty king. Pharaoh said, "I have dreamed, and no one can explain it." "I hear you can." Joseph bowed and said, "I cannot, but God will give Pharaoh the answer." He explained, "And the 2 dreams are one. 7 years of abundance are coming, followed by 7 years of famine. Let Pharaoh store food during the years of plenty, so the land may survive the famine." Pharaoh marveled and said, "Can we find such a man as this, in whom is the Spirit of God?" He placed a gold chain around Joseph's neck, dressed him in fine linen, and made him second ruler over Egypt. Chariots rolled before him, calling, "Bow the knee!" During the years of plenty, Joseph stored grain in every city until it was like the sand of the sea. Then the famine came, and people from all nations came to Egypt to buy food. Among them were Joseph's brothers. They bowed before him, just as he had dreamed long ago, but did not recognize him. Joseph tested them, speaking harshly at first. He demanded they bring Benjamin, the youngest. When they returned with him, Joseph could no longer hide his heart. He sent the Egyptians away, wept loudly, and said, "I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into Egypt. Do not be afraid. You meant it for evil, but God meant it for good, to save many lives." He embraced them, tears wetting his fine robes. Word reached Jacob, who journeyed to Egypt and saw his son alive. The family was restored, and Joseph provided for them all in the land. So ends the tale, my children. Betrayal does not destroy destiny. Suffering does not silence dreams. And what others mean for harm, the Almighty can turn into good. This is the story of Joseph the dreamer, the slave who became ruler, the prisoner who became savior.